Officials fired over corruption but who are innocent will just have to accept President Rodrigo Duterte's apologies.
If nagkamali ako na pinaalis kita at hindi pala totoo, sorry na lang. Then I'd say to you, sorry. But that's it.
Duterte adds he'd rather make errors in going after officials for corruption than ignore complaints.
I would rather magkamali ako to err in favor of if my suspicions are almost equivocal, I'd rather choose the path that would though it's a mistake para mahinto na kasi.
He recently fired 92 government officials from 2 agencies involved in licenses and vehicle registration. The president also says he won't tolerate corruption by his own family.
But I promise you that I will stick to the rules, that I will not bend it for anybody. And ito I promise you now, if one of my relatives is involved in corruption sa gobyerno, I'll give you my word on the time. Happy New Year. I will resign from the presidency.
But he says the accusations must come in the form of complaints to the ombudsman and not hearsay. In an interview with Rappler, President Rodrigo Duterte dispels fears the bombings in Cotabato and Leyte will push him to declare martial law.
Pero was a lawyer, there's really no need for it. Because martial law would burden also the innocent people who are not into the, the cause for the declaration. Tayo, gusto mo na niya curfew and things like that. I am not up to it, actually.
He says declaring martial law is an exercise in futility. He adds this declaration of a state of lawlessness is enough. The Philippines remains a state of lawlessness since a deadly blast in Davao City in September. Duterte says his dictatorial tendencies only go as far as his talk.
The way that I run things now, can you sense a little bit of dictatorship? Ganun ako mag-utos dito. When I say, kita mo magsalita, pati yung money laundering, sabi ko, putang ina kayo dyan, you better behave.
Yet the president frequently talked about declaring martial law after taking office. Duterte also links ISIS to the Christmas Eve bombing in Midsayap, Cotabato, and the Davao City blast.
The ISIS seems to be everywhere now. In summer, it was an explosion. In Midsayap, while the priest was giving his sermon about extrajudicial killing, pinaputok yung simbahan niya.
But when you say the Midsayap bomb, that explosion is connected to ISIS,
yes,
that has
and
intelligence?
the Davao bomb explosion.
The Davao bomb.
Duterte says he's not ready to share the intelligence.
I hope it will not get out of control, but I had a conference with the top guys of the government military. I saw them to the police. You have to not only appear strong, you have to be strong. Because this is, another problem is no joke.
He says some of his relatives may have declared loyalty to ISIS.
Prangga-prangga. May mga pinsan ako na nasa kabila. Sa MIM, nang iba, balitaan ko nasa ISIS. Sabi ko, pasensyahan tayo. You are you and I am I. And I said, if we meet in one corner, so be it.
On Rizal Day, President Rodrigo Duterte calls on Filipinos to be heroes like Jose Rizal. He adds, the country is still fighting for independence, but today we're fighting freedom from the bondage of poverty, crime, illegal drugs, and corruption. Vice President Leni Robredo reminds Filipinos of the courage of Jose Rizal to fight for truth and freedom. Robredo, who has openly criticized Duterte, has become the symbol of the political opposition. She was not at the ceremony led by Duterte to commemorate Rizal at Luneta Park in Manila. Robredo resigned from her post as housing czar after she was barred from attending cabinet meetings. Presidential Peace Advisor Jesus Dureza hopes to begin formal work in January 2017 on a new law that will create the Bangsamoro region. Dureza says President Rodrigo Duterte is expected to name 21 individuals who will make up the new and expanded Bangsamoro Transition Commission, the panel that will draft the proposal to be submitted to Congress. He adds the Bangsamoro Basic Law that failed to pass Congress will, quote, probably be the basic document among other pertinent legislations of the new enabling law. Lawmakers who oppose the bill say it violates the Constitution by giving away too much power. Dureza says the old law failed to pass largely because of the Mama Sapano incident. He adds there were also issues on its constitutionality, but there are sectors affirming that the old law is constitutionally compliant. United States President Barack Obama unleashes a barrage of retaliatory measures against Moscow for meddling in the U.S. elections. U.S. intelligence concluded that Hillary Clinton's staff emails were hacked and released on orders of the Kremlin, part of an effort to put Donald Trump in the Oval Office. Obama says, quote, "I've ordered a number of actions in response to the Russian government's aggressive harassment of U.S. officials and cyber operations aimed at the U.S. election." In response to the hacks, Obama announces sanctions against Russia's military intelligence agency, known as GRU, and the FSB, the KGB's successor. 35 Russian operatives based at the Russian embassy in Washington and the consulate in San Francisco are also declared persona non grata and ordered to leave the U.S. within 72 hours. U.S. officials will also close 2 Russian compounds in New York and Maryland. Moscow rejects U.S. charges and vows to retaliate.